If you've been trying to figure out how to sell to big companies, this video is going to save you a ton of wasted time by making sure you don't accidentally push away the very decision makers that you're looking to get in front of. And before we wrap up, I'll share with you a powerful step that you can take that instantly sets you apart from everyone else in a decision maker's inbox. One of the fastest ways to get ignored by decision makers is showing up in a way that makes you look inexperienced, transactional, pushy, or needy. And there are so many common things that are done by the average salesperson in the market that might make you think that that is a good tactic or that that's the right way to go about doing things, when in fact it's a huge mistake that gives decision makers the exact wrong impression of who you are. And this is really important to understand when you are an expert-based business owner, meaning you are someone like a consultant, a leadership coach, a trainer, or a services provider, and you're not only going to be selling your expertise to decision makers, but you're also going to be the expert that they work with after the sale is made. In those cases, how you show up at the beginning of a relationship with a decision maker is so important because it's the foundation for the relationship that you're gonna have with that decision maker, with that organization over the long term. So making these mistakes early on can really undermine your credibility and your rapport, and it's very difficult to recover from that. So I'm gonna share with you 5 mistakes that you absolutely don't want to make, no matter how many other people you see in the marketplace doing these very, very bad habits. All right, let's dive in. Mistake number 1 is treating decision makers as if they are your sales assistant. Now, you might think, I would never do that, but let me tell you something. Every single time that there is someone who sends out a prospecting email or a message through LinkedIn that says things like, if you're not the right decision maker to talk to, please let me know who is. Or they ask for 30-40 minutes of time so that they can explore what challenges that decision maker has, even though that decision maker doesn't know them from the next person in the marketplace. In both of those cases, that is turning that decision maker, that very busy individual who barely has time to get home on time for dinner with their kids, into that salesperson or that business owner's assistant, because now they would have to figure out who it is that you need to talk to, or they would just be giving you an hour of their time so you can find something to sell to them. I know you would never do that, but this is the experience that so many decision makers are having every single day with the salespeople and the entrepreneurs who are reaching out to them. So never ever put those things in any of your outreach emails or LinkedIn messages unless you want those decision makers to feel like you are being transactional and don't respect their time. All right, mistake number 2 is using B2C sales tactics in a B2B world. What works when you're selling to a solo business owner or a consumer is so different than when you're working with B2B decision makers. I have an entire video that goes into all the psychological and practical differences between the two, but the biggest one of all comes down to urgency. An individual consumer or a solo business owner really has the ability to act when they want to act. Inside companies, the urgency level is not set by any one decision maker, not even the CEO at the helm. There are a lot of interdependencies and a lot of things that go in to creating that urgency. So don't try to take the tactics that you see all over Instagram, all over Facebook, all over TikTok, and think that you can use them with discerning decision makers inside of organizations who have just 1 hour a week available to really absorb expertise from outside their organization. Don't do it. It's a huge waste of time. And again, it's going to make you look inexperienced in the B2B world. Mistake number 3 is to try to use what's called the one sentence close. This is a technique that is often taught in traditional B2B sales training classes. And in fact, just a week ago, I got an email from a company that does B2B sales training, and they were actually suggesting to their email list to use this very technique. A one sentence close sounds something like this. If I showed you how to fix the problem today, when would you be ready to move forward? Or, based on what we've discussed so far, do you feel this solution solves your problem? The problem with these kinds of sentences, besides for the fact they are clearly manipulative, trying to trap the decision maker in an answer that they then can't wiggle out of, and let's be honest, B2B decision makers are smart, they're savvy, they know exactly what's happening in this question, so they know it's manipulative, they know these questions are meant to trap them, but more importantly, these questions show just how naive so many salespeople are in terms of the internal dynamics inside of organizations. What's really going to be the process that a decision maker and a team has to go through in order to think about all the complexities, the timing, and the exact things they need. And trust me, in just one conversation, you cannot have all of the details figured out, nor could the decision maker to be able to give an honest answer to such a manipulative question. So don't do it. Let me just add one more thing. There are even sales training classes out there that suggest that you use something like a one sentence close at the beginning of a meeting with a decision maker, which is even worse than asking it at the end. Because if you ask it at the beginning, it shows that all you care about is the transaction, not the relationship. So leave the professional salespeople to this bad technique and don't do it for your business. Mistake number 4 is going problem hunting. Essentially, in this scenario, you finally get a meeting with the decision maker, and instead of using it as an opportunity to really educate that decision maker the way that we teach our clients at Bold House to do, instead, you start poking the decision maker with a stick, essentially going, well, what about this? Does that hurt? Would you need my help with this? Maybe if I poke you here, that's going to be a pain point, and then you'll need my help there. Every single time that you hear experts in the market talk about finding the pain point, they're actually suggesting that you go hunting for a problem. Decision makers know exactly what's happening in those scenarios. They immediately throw up a wall because they don't want to be sold to, which is the worst possible thing that can happen for you. That means they're going to be resistant in spending more time with you and having another meeting with you. And again, they're going to feel that all you're really doing is being transactional so that you can get to a sale as quickly as possible, as opposed to really learning about them, their goals, and having them learn about your organization so that they can pull you in when the timing is right. Please do not poke decision makers with a stick finding a pain point. And last but not least is mistake number 5, and that is heading into a conversation or a meeting with a decision maker, not knowing what that organization does, or much more specifically, how that organization makes money. And listen, even if it's a college or a university, even if it's a nonprofit, you still have to understand their biggest funding sources, because even nonprofits, government agencies, universities, colleges, mid-markets, technology startups, they all rely on cash flow. And it's so important to understand when you're meeting with organizations, even if you're meeting with HR, even if you're meeting with the chief information officer or the head of facilities management, you have to understand how that company makes money. And I don't just mean in a generic way. Do they have 4 different business units and they're all selling something different in the market? Do they have 3 different divisions, all with different customers and different needs? Know how the company makes money, because when you're talking to any serious decision maker inside an organization, being able to speak to them about their company and what they're doing in the marketplace and what financial success means to them is relatable and applicable to everything, whether it's a people problem, a process problem, a product problem, or a profit problem. Understanding the heartbeat of an organization means understanding how that organization makes money. And the great news is, thanks to AI, you can just ask ChatGPT how an organization makes money. But go to their website, learn a little bit about the organizations you're meeting with. It's going to show that you have real business acumen and entrepreneur maturity when you show up to those meetings well prepared. And you're able to talk about how your expertise, how your services are ultimately going to help that organization do more of what they do better. Okay. Those are the 5 mistakes that you want to avoid when you're looking to sell to big companies. Now that you know what to avoid, let's dive into more of what you should do. And for that, I've dropped a link to the very next video that you want to watch right below in the description. Go click on that now, and I'll meet you there.